So I think that what the Bengals are banking on is two things. First of all, they're not going to be nearly as horrific at the beginning of next year. They're going to be adequate. And second of all, hey, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Oh, you're laughing at that at the unlikelihood of actually having adequate linebacker play.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so the thing is that
Hey everybody, it's AFC Northerners. Woo!
Hey.
Oh my God, guys. So, really excited to be back. We're so excited to talk about the draft. Make sure you like and subscribe. And also, please comment. We want to hear all of your thoughts about our takes and your own takes. All right, so without further ado, let me go around and introduce everybody, starting with the Browns.
Dave Green, DGBG, Browns guy.
Rob Gresses, Bengals guy.
Chris Atkins, Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm Jan David Zutar, Ravens. So 16 days, that's all that's left. And while I've been looking at combine records till my eyes bleed, the other three guys behind me have been a little quiet. So I'm really excited to hear what everybody has on their mind for the draft. Tonight we're going to do a kind of live mock draft. We have a board. I have no idea who any of these guys are taking for their team, so it's going to be really fun. We're going to go through the first three rounds, and hopefully nobody snipes my Ravens targets. So let's go ahead and get to the 2026 AFC North War Room. So starting at the top, round one, we got pick number 6, Cleveland Browns. What's up, DGBG?
Okay, so, we could go wide receiver here. We could take Tate. We could trade down. We can do all of that good jazz, right? But I said it 2 videos ago. Monroe Freeling was the guy I would like. And I know that there's a lot of guys, pundits out there that are saying that that may be a reach at 6, more like 11 or 12. Why mess around with it? Just go get the guy. The guy can shore up that left tackle spot. He gives us the anchor for the next 7 to 10 years. I think it's worth the pick, honestly. If that's the guy we're looking at, we go get him. Otherwise, I would go Tate. But my gut, my feeling, who I really would like us to take is Freeling. I think that the game of football is won in the trenches on the offensive side and on the defensive line. And that's where I'm going to go. I think the wide receiver class is way too deep, and we can wait till the back end of the first to get a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's exactly actually how I thought you would break that down. I'm really that's exactly the pick that I figured you guys would probably make myself. What do you guys think?
I've heard some questions. I think I've heard questions about Freeling about whether or not he is suited to be a guard or a tackle, that there's some physical issues, like measurements wise, that might make him not perfectly appropriate. But I think I heard that from I talked to a guy on The Athletic comment board, a scout, says he's a scout. I believe he's a scout. He's actually commented on our show before. I think he's called Anonymous NFL Scout or something like that. Nate S is the guy's handle on The Athletic, and I think he had some worries about Freeling as being able to stay as a tackle, but I don't remember them enough to know. But yeah, I mean, the problem is for the Browns, they have to draft somebody, either a wide receiver or an O lineman. They can't really draft one of these blue chip defensive players, and so they're kind of I think stuck with a difficult choice. If I were the Browns, I would trade down, but I don't know who'd want to trade with them. I mean, sure, lots of teams would want to, but I don't know who you'd get.
I honestly think that Dallas would be a good trade down partner. I think we could get the capital to make that trade. In all honesty, I think you guys would make a great trade partner. I think you guys coming to 6, us going down to 10, we would be able to go Freeling, and whether he transitions into guard or he stays at that tackle position, that makes more sense financially for that pick. And it also allows you guys to make that jump up to go ahead and get Downs. Although Downs at 6 is a little bit high also. I think
Yeah,
you guys could probably get Ruben Bain right
yeah.
there.
I think if we go into 6, we try to get Bain, and if he's not available, when we try to get Styles. I think
Okay,
we're
well, let's not get ahead of
Right.
ourselves because I want to make sure this Chris has a chance to check in on this too. Because I also want to get to your pick next. I'm super excited to hear about your pick at 10, Rob. But
I,
Chris, do you think that Do you agree with that? Do you think that the Browns wind up going Monroe Freeling, or do you think they wind up going Mekhi Lemon at wide receiver? Is it? It feels like Freeling's the choice to have like kind of like a succession path for the Browns O line.
I think, first of all, I think their defense is pretty solid. I don't see a first round draft pick being spent on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be on offense. So then I start to think, okay, really this kind of is predicated on which direction we're going to go in quarterback wise. And just for argument's sake, I think right now the league, the team feels that Shadur is going to be their guy. So which weapons and or protection are we going to go pursue for Shador? Is it going to be an offensive lineman to protect them? Is it going to be a wide receiver to now come in and be a weapon? I think one of the last shows we were talking about change the wide receiver. So I kind of see them going after a high profile weapon, a wide receiver if he's out there at that number 6 pick for the Browns. If they're going to stay in that slot, I see them going high end for a receiver to get some weapons for Shador to try to lead that offense.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. And it seems like, I mean, DGBJ, I'd love to get your take on this real quick before we move off onto the number 10 pick. But are you still think that it's Shadur's job to lose in Cleveland?
I think they're going to give Watson every chance at it. And in typical fashion, he's going to look really good in camp. Um, but my personal take, I want Shador. I, there was a reason he was talked about so highly last year before the draft happened. He didn't slide because of anything that he did. It was last name associated. That's why he slid. Why not give the guy a chance? What's the worst that could happen? We get 3, 4 wins and we're drafting again next year at the top, and now we're looking at a quarterback crop or class that could be like 7, maybe even 8 deep. Like,
I
let's
would
just
push
see if the guy is legitimately the guy.
I would push back a little bit on it not being his fault because he did refuse like meetings with the Ravens. He did like have a little bit of attitude going into the draft, and I think that like he got humbled pretty well from that. So I
Come
can't
on, all the way
really
down to the
blame.
fifth because all the way down to the fifth because he didn't want to sit behind Lamar Jackson. If I'm a competitor, I want a shot at playing. I know by going to that situation, I'm not
And then
getting a
Lamar
shot
got
at getting
injured and he
onto
would
the
have had
field.
time to play last year.
Okay, but then what happens if he goes out there and he woos it? He freaking knocks the socks off of the
We
ball
if we win, we
and
win.
he's a
I
stud,
Yeah.
right? But now it puts you guys at a situation where, well, we got Lamar and now we got Shador. Yeah, you're going to flip one of them, but then who you flip? I personally, as a competitor, I wouldn't want to go into that situation. I'd rather go to a team where I've got a legitimate shot at starting. We didn't do him any favors last year, you know?
Yeah.
And when
I
he did
totally
go
agree
out
about
there,
that. I
yeah,
think
he may have looked average, but like he looked better than what Dylan Gabriel did.
yeah, I mean honestly
Back
like
down Charlie.
yeah, totally. That's what my saying is still like, he didn't quite do everything that like he kind of shot himself a foot a little bit. But I don't your point is taken. So, any other last reactions to Dave's pick at number 6 of Monroe Freeling? I think it totally aligns with what I would do. That's what I picked for the Browns. So moving on to pick 10, Cincinnati Bengals. All right, Rob, you're at number 10, and I'm looking at you very closely because I feel like my draft hinges on what you do here. And, you got, say, possibly Gerard McCoy sitting there, Peter Woods. So don't do this to me.
Don't worry. I think what we're gonna do, since this is a mock draft and I haven't seen what the other teams have picked, I think at 10 the Bengals are gonna pick Fernando Mendoza.
What?
And then we're gonna
Oh,
and then we'll trade him to the Raiders for lots
you
of capital. Well, I don't know what
you're
has been picked.
crazy.
I don't know what's been picked. No, no. Obviously, Mendoza's pick number 1. Everybody knows that. So it really does depend on what's available on the board. My son Nico has been champing at the bit to tell me what he would pick if he were Bengals. Yeah?
Oh, okay. What's up,
Okay.
Nico?
Hello again.
Okay.
Hello.
I guess. Anyway, I would go Ruben Bennett if he's available.
Sure. Ruben Bain would be good. He would be my number 1 choice.
If
Okay.
Really? Okay. So
Yeah.
what is that who you'd go with at pick 10?
If he's available, my goodness, yes. He'd be no, yeah. If
I
I
don't think I can't say that I would go with him. My biggest issue with Ruben Baines is that he's too in between. He's too much of a tweener. He's a like he's like I think that like he'll have a great workout, but like he'll just get like completely mauled because like he doesn't quite fit like what that position really needs.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, just looking at his college production, just looking at his like athletic combine stuff, he's got very short arms. There's no doubt about that. But the Bengals have historically picked guys who have short arms and have done really well with them. Um, Geno Atkins, I think, had short arms. Trey Hendrickson had short arms, and based on how well he did in college, I think Nico's pick of Bain would be what I would pick. Like honestly, if I had the number 2 pick, I might go with Bain over Reese or Bailey. I mean, I haven't really thought about it much because Reese or Bailey aren't going to be available. I just don't trust the Bengals to be able to develop Reese, whereas I think Bain is a plug and play guy. But is that no, no? Don't read my notes. It's very, very private, Nico.
Check who I can pick.
Oh, you were trying to check? Well, would you pick Caleb Downs? Would you pick Sonny Styles? Would you pick?
So Caleb Downs, I would pick him maybe because his talent seems to be very high.
Well, he's a very high floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know
Yeah.
how high his ceiling is.
But I will say,
Yeah.
gotta get the camera.
Uh-huh.
I gotta say that I gotta keep my pick from last week alive, so I can't pick Sonny Styles.
Can't pick Sonny Styles. No, that would be against your hot take.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Take
right.
because opinion.
So Baines or Downs? Is that who you're picking? Bain or Downs? Okay, Bain or Downs. Yeah, I would say yeah. For me, it'd be Bain, and if he's not available, then Styles, and if he's not available, then Down. But I think Caleb Downs will be available, and if he's not available, then I might go crazy and say Kendrick Falk.
Oh,
over
interesting.
the cornerback because I think our need for cornerback has been highly overrated. I think we
You
have
know,
a cornerback room.
that to me right there is the thing. I think that like the cornerback need is a real thing. That's why I was kind of, I'm personally like looking at, what you guys would wind up drafting. So I would be a little surprised if you wind up not going something most definitely in the secondary. Like I think that that's where you guys like if you're going by need, which you guys sometimes do draft by. For me it would be your secondary.
Yeah, well, what we need is a like nickel defender, right? And that's somebody like that doesn't have to be a cornerback. Like Paul Dehner Jr. just wrote this big article for The Athletic saying we really need this, and so as a result, we need to get a quarterback like McCoy. And it's not true. Like although the slot defender is like a big deal now, you don't have a guy like Caleb Downs can do that perfectly well. In fact, that's why he's like a blue chip prospect because he can do so much more than just be a safety. He can blitz, and he's got this incredible football IQ, so he can make the whole secondary better. And so, like Caleb Downs, I think is realistically of all the blue chip players the one likeliest to be available. And so I think if he were available, I do think we would pick him. If he's not available, I don't think we would pick Falk over McCoy or Mansour Delane. I think we'd probably pick McCoy and then Delane and then Falk. Well, I don't know if we.
But
if
you
pick Falk.
do Ruben Baines over all of those.
I do Ruben Bain over all of them. Yeah.
Junior.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
What about offensive line?
So this is I think I said this last time. This is the first 2-year period where we've had the same 5 offensive line players. I mean, offensive line is good. Like the thing is that the offensive line players I don't see as blue chip players. There's talk about whether Spencer Fano is a blue chip player, and if he is, then you definitely have to consider him. I mean, obviously you might think Freeling is a blue chip player too, but it just doesn't seem to be as much agreement as like there seems to be agreement that these 7 guys of Jeremiah Love, Fernando Mendoza, and then the 5 defensive players, Bailey, Bain, Styles, Downs, and who am I missing? Bailey, Bain, Styles, Downs. Anybody remember the 5th one? Oh, Reese. Adele Reese, yeah. After all these 7 players, then it's sort of like they're all sort of tier 1 players.
He's probably not gonna be available.
Yeah, Arvel Reese won't be available.
Yeah.
So like Fano, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be crazy to pick Fano if he's available, but I think probably we would pick defense over offensive line because right now we're okay on offensive line and the secondary, well, honestly, interior defensive line and also the nickel or slot defender, that's where we have our biggest needs.
Wouldn't you go McDonald then from Ohio State? You think that's too high for him?
McDonald? Is
Yeah,
that what you said? What's his first name?
Mike, I believe it's Mike.
Oh, I don't know Mike McDonald. So I guess I haven't been looking for him in the first round. So I guess he's probably too high in that case. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I would think that McDonald was the guy that I was looking at too if he wound up falling all the way to 14.
I think he's not that bad on the interior of the defensive line.
Yeah. I heard of Peter
I'm a
Woods,
big,
and
God.
I heard Peter Woods as an interior defensive line, but he did bad at like his pro day, so his stock has fallen. And then there's another guy I'd heard. I didn't think it was McDonald though. Trying to look at my notes here. Yeah, Banks, Caleb Banks was the other guy I heard.
Okay.
Defensive line. Yeah. Oh, I
Yep.
see. Other people, other among us have our progeny.
Yes.
So
Yeah. What are you thinking, Chris?
Well, I'm thinking about the performances I saw on that team defensively this year. And the term that comes to mind, which is harsh, is bag with a hole in it. So no matter how many points that offense put up, the defense wasn't able to stop 30 points, 40 points from hitting the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So that's telling me that linebacking core, that pass rushing core is going to be one of the first things to be addressed. I think best player available, and Rob, kind of to your point, I don't know who's out there that I haven't been looking for, but I see middle linebacker, outside linebacker, interior defensive lineman being the first need to address on that Bengals team. I mean, we just saw too many points being given up, and especially in passing downs. So again, that kind of tells me that high profile pass rusher and or interior linebacker who's going to put some pressure on a quarterback, get some sacks scored for that team is going to be their best bet in that first round.
okay, I do want to respond to that. So, yeah, definitely there was, for the first 11 games of the season, we had two rookie linebackers out there, and they did a really horrific job. But during the last 6 games, they actually started to improve. And, and so I think that what the Bengals are banking on is two things. First of all, they're not going to be nearly as horrific at the beginning of next year. They're going to be adequate. And second of all, hey, here's the other thing. Zach Taylor does not value the linebacker position. And Sean McVay does not value the linebacker position. The people they have there, they just don't think it's that important. So as long as you don't get literally what's funny? Linebacker stuff?
No, it just the adequate.
Oh, well, look. If we have, oh, you're laughing at the unlikelihood of actually having adequate linebacker play. Oh, well, so the thing is that if everybody else around them is okay, right? Like our safety room is pretty good, our cornerback room is good, and then if we improve our interior defensive line to do pass rush, like I think that like Knight and Carter are going to be such that they're not going to freak out and literally not know what to do nearly as much as they did in the first 11 games of the season. I mean, look, it could happen. Here's one thing I don't think can happen. I don't think they can regress below to where they were. Like they were the two worst linebackers in the NFL. I don't think they're going to get worse than the two worst linebackers in the NFL again, right? You're well. Look, I do think that there is a big jump in the second year. Well, I'm going to laugh at you at your wide receivers when it comes time, and your center, whoever your center is. And Lamar's extension.
Yeah, no, and you might be right in doing so. You might be right in doing so. All right. No, I think I am kind of surprised that you wouldn't actually go for like at 10, like if Gerard McCoy was there. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't say that. Like that you would I would not take Ruben Baines over Gerard McCoy personally. That is just my own value. But I do think that like the way that you have thought about this draft is definitely, I think, coming from a very smart place where if Bengals were to draft that way. I just don't agree with Ruben Baines' Tyrannosaurus arms. So, okay, all right. Moving on. Pick number 14, the Ravens. Okay, so um, for me, if the Bengals or anyone else doesn't wind up taking Gerard McCoy at 14, that's who I've got. Like, I think that he is definitely going to, like, our corners definitely need some new blood and some real, like, day one starter. And that's what I think he brings to the table. If he's gone, though, I mean, like, I would totally look at Vega from Penn State, his 8.4 RAS Mauler, and Linderbaum's out. Like to me, it's a smart money pick. If Gerard McCoy wasn't there, but if McCoy is there, and I can't believe anybody passed on him, then like, oh my God, pedigree. He's like a Brandon Stevens replacement that we've been waiting for, and the Ravens secondary just gets a whole lot scarier. Nobody wants to
Was that a
comment.
question? Um,
Sorry.
Rob, you're muted.
Okay.
I'm trying to mute because I keep on having this dialogue with my son about trying to be quieter.
so, Jan, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What do you think could have changed this year that would have taken you guys a step further into the postseason?
Uh, Really for us, like I think that on the whole level, it was coaching. Like, I don't think it's something that a player fixes or a player position fixes. I mean, this is the thing that I warn DGBG about is that Monken will change his game plan in the middle of a game and not use good weapons. Like, it seems like he's a little counterintuitive to me. And so for me, last year, looking at Monken, looking at what, happened within the offensive scheme and also on defense, we were not good on defense. And I think, again, that really, you know, not to, hate on Zach Orr, but I wasn't really impressed with him as a coordinator. They had to bring in other people just to support him. And so to me, that was band-aids to a system that was just not really well set. So this year, whole different ball game. Like Jesse Minter's in his head coach. He's a defensive-minded kind of like coach who calls his own plays. So I am thinking that that's going to be the focus. Defense wins championships. Is it a best player available or a need-based idea? I think that if Gerard McCoy is there, it is a combination of both.
I would agree.
I think
I think offensively, I think you guys are for the most part pretty tight. I mean, obviously, running back as good as you're going to get.
Center, really, it's like with Linderbaum gone, like our center is the thing, and that's why I would go with is it uh how's it like I always screw up his last name. Vega Gioni? How is it?
Yeah, I think it's like Johnny or Joni or something
Johnny?
like that.
Joni?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
Vega
mean,
Joni.
it's is he Samoan?
That's a good question. I don't know.
yeah.
Who's
From
You
Penn
think?
not
State.
Samoan?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He is. He's the Samoan guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Vega Joanni, is that how you said it? I'm horrible at this game.
Let's just lean into mispronouncing it.
Okay.
Ioanni.
But
Yeah.
I like Vega, so it was my favorite character in Street Fighter. So, no, like I think that like if Gerard McCoy is not there, then Gerard McCoy is not there, then Vega, like it makes sense for us to kind of, really settle into steadying that offensive line and centering it. But, you know, I think we're going to wind up going with if Gerard McCoy's there, then I just don't see us passing on him.
So your biggest need, you think, is defense, in particular, the secondary, or just because of how good he is.
I think it's because of how good he is and that he's just a day one starter. If it was need based first, then it would definitely be Vega.
And you're not worried about McCoy missing a year because of how well he did at his pro day?
No, I think that like it could be a situation where like we had I don't know if it was Malachi Starks last year, but like we had some should have been day one starters that we had drafted that were injured for a little bit or had stuff that they had to go through or all of those, and that kind of comes with the territory. So if we're ahead of the curve, we're ahead of the curve, but otherwise we get like an amazing pick out of it.
Yeah, well, if you had Kyle Hamilton and Gerard McCoy, that'd be pretty scary.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like you pair those two together and you just have like such a fun team. I'm really excited to see something like that. It would be to me it would be as good as if like Sonny Styles was still there and available for us at like 14, which I think is crazy.
Well, you think that highly of McCoy, huh?
I think that he's that good. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
whenever you look at his tape, whenever you look at what he's able to do and the way that just the kind of way he moves around the ball and gets to the ball, I like him. I think he plays like a Raven.
I've heard though that he's pretty grabby, that you might get a lot of PIs with him.
That's coaching.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's just coaching to me. Like that pass interference comes with coaching.
Well, and sometimes it's a smart thing to do rather
Yeah.
than get the touchdown.
Yeah, totally. Like, I I think that it's always kind of like a fun judgment call. There's always like, oh, if he hadn't have, but yeah. Yeah, okay. So, want to move on to pick number 21 with the Steelers, unless anybody's got anything else to say. Okay, so pick number 21, Pittsburgh Steelers, Chris. Chris, so Steelers are 21. You lose Minka in free agency. The wide receiver room is also looking thin. So, what are you thinking?
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the Minka comment, pin that because I'm pretty confident in my second round draft pick, and I'm going to go into some detail there. First round, I can't even pin down a specific position. Here's what I have highlighted that we're going to draft in round one: offensive rhythm. Offensive rhythm maker is what we're going to draft in the first round. That's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be an offensive guard or an offensive tackle. I think this draft is very, very rich in the tackle position, but pretty thin at the guard position. I like ESPN's ratings and their draft board. When you look at their top 100, they've got 5 tackles in the top 32 overall positions this year, meaning, that kind of hints that there could be 5, 6 tackles getting drafted in the first round this year. As opposed to guards, you've got one guard in the top 32. You might only have 1 or 2 of those guys selected in the first round. That tells me that guard position is a little bit more coveted. I think the Steelers are going to go Emmanuel, I may butcher this, Pregnan, or Kalen Rutledge at the guard position in that first round. That's going to give Mike McCarthy some offensive firepower, some bandwidth to really get a running game established and a passing game set up. I did not love the protection. I did not love the passing or rushing blocking for this season. I do think that the offensive line right now is one of those foundational pieces that we're going to have to attack first round. And again, with the thinness at guard this year, I think it'll behoove us to take that guard first round before it gets really thin there if there's a run on guards.
So you said Pregman and who?
Kalen Rutledge.
Kalen Brutledge.
From Georgia Tech.
Got you.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not where I had you at all. What did you guys think?
I think he's correct. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Rutland's more of a natural fit for us than Pregnan would be. But I definitely, again, see us attacking that guard position right off the bat. Sorry, go ahead, DGBG.
I think what you're saying about the tackles and the guards, I think the one guard going early and then like 6 to 7 tackles, I think it's because the tackles that are in this draft, they're not translating to the tackle position. To go back to what Rob was saying, I think there's only one really true tackle in the draft, and I think that's Freeling. I think the rest are projected to be moved inside. That doesn't take away from the fact that there is like one or two true guards that are out there inside the top 40. And I agree with what you're trying to do there. What about Chase Pasantis?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard for me to call, not understanding how McCarthy is going to look to set up the team yet, and just what it's going to look like with some of those new pieces. Um, I you asked a question. Let me flip the question back on to you. What are your thoughts on how he would fit into the Steelers?
He is he's quick. And I think that like with your running backs, they're quick. So you're gonna need a guy inside that can move just as fast as that running back, so to say, right? If you got a guy who's moving a little bit slower on the inside and your running backs are moving pretty fast, that hole's not going to open up in time to get that running back out. That's my thought process on it.
No, and I'll agree with that. I mean, I'll go back to one of my all-time favorite Steelers, Marquise Pouncey. There was just a way he had about snapping the ball and getting out there and pulling, and I think that I credit him with a lot of the Steelers' success in that era. So if we could have a quick-footed interior lineman that's going to get out there, pull out there, and seal that edge, hey, I don't think that's a bad decision.
Are you talking about pregnant there?
No,
I'm referencing Santos.
Okay, because I wasn't sure. Yeah, because pregnant, whenever I think about it, like when I think about his, style, he's a little bit more refined and polished than Rutledge is, right? Like
I
Rutledge,
think he fits that Oregon system, that
yeah, totally.
very fast-paced running gun system, uh, more so than I
'Cause-
think Georgia Tech's approach will
yeah,
translate to the
exactly.
NFL.
Yeah, because he was kind of like a Georgia Tech mauler, like same kind of worldview, but like slightly nastier flavor. But okay, for sure. Yeah, I didn't quite have that, so that's kind of surprising to me, but I also do kind of appreciate it.
So
So you
earlier, a couple weeks ago, I was really high on a running back, but obviously now having Dowdle in there, we also got Pittman, so I'm a little bit less anxious about a running back.
Hmm.
I'm starting to think that line is where we're going to start to invest some of our draft capital.
Yeah, that's
Five
that's
picks in the
I
first three
totally thought you
rounds.
were gonna go wide receiver, to be honest.
Up until that Pittman trade, I certainly would have. I
Hmm.
think that now having him and DK Metcalf, I don't think you make that big of a move for Pittman to be your number three guy. And I don't think you're going to draft someone in the first round to be your number three guy, if that makes sense. So uh, at this point, I think you would draft later rounds if you're going to go wide receiver.
How many of the wide receivers prospects like to punch fans?
I think there are two fan punchers.
Uh-huh.
So you know what's funny? LeGarrette Blunt was a Steeler for a little while as well, and I just
Yeah.
can't get the visual out of my mind of him just socking someone in the face after a game in college. So
Well, I just
we
remember it
have
was
some
the
face
it,
punchers in the Steelers.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
no, you have DK Metcalf.
and the Steelers have Myles Garrett to take the helmet off of
Being the Browns.
Mason Rudolph
The
and beat him
clubber,
with it.
the
Yeah,
clubber.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't
So
unsee that. I cannot unsee that play.
what seriously though, what are you guys not considering Ty Simpson?
Mm.
Uh, First, I'm not sure he's going to be there at 21. To be honest,
Oh,
I'm not sure he's going to be
okay.
there at 21. I think the Steelers definitely have a history of best player available, and with Khan still there, I think that he will certainly have an eye open for those headliner prospects that just slipped down to 21. But I think this draft is a bit more clear cut than some of the others, where you can kind of pick and choose where a lot of these guys are going to go. I'm a bit less confident he'll be there at 21 uh, this year.
Mm.
I don't think he gets by the Jets at what, like 15 or 16?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Jets are 16, yeah.
I don't think he gets by them. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree, especially like you're sitting all the way over there at 21.
Well, the nice thing
It's
is that
weird. It's weird.
if the
Being
Jets
at
pick
21.
him, then you know he wasn't any good.
He was cursed.
So you didn't miss anything.
God.
He'll be better after his rookie contract.
That's
than he
right.
was.
Yeah. Get him after they let him go.
He'll have that Geno moment where they'll write back to him years later.
Yeah, fair.
How many draft picks do you guys have in the first three, Dave? Do you know?
33. So 24 and 33.
Nice.
And then we jump to round 3. And we got 1 in round 3.
2 and 1, 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 1 and 3.
2 and 1, 1 and 2, and 1 and 3.
Did you double dip in the first round there? I heard you say 1. Did you call out 2 guys in the first round?
I would like Freeling, but Carnell Tate is an option there. I just don't see us going wide receiver. I see it more than likely probably trading down. That just fits the MO of what we do, and try to get an extra pick in next year's draft in the first round. So that way, if Shador doesn't work out, and Watson's a bust like he's been, then we got ammo to go up to get a guy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so Dave, back again. You already took you've got at 6, you went with Monroe Freeling. So here you are now at 24. Do you go double down on O-line with like a Caden Proctor, or do you take a weapon?
Don't tempt me with another tackle, buddy. I think we got to go with a weapon. I just, for as much as I like offensive line and defensive line, and I think that's where it's won right, I don't think we have enough weapons. I think we need another guy. If Jordan Tyson's there, I can see us making that pick. I can see us trading down 1 or 2 picks to take Concepcion.
Yeah, I was thinking about Concepcion with you guys, actually. That feels accurate to me.
I think with him, people have made a deal about the hands and the drops, and we already got a guy that's like that. We don't need 2 guys that are like that, give me something that's a little bit more sure-handed. Although Concepcion's fast, dude. Like, he's Forrest Gump fast. And
that's really the first
that
guy
is the
you go
most
to?
brilliant oxymoron.
But speed is what sells, right? And that's something that he can sell, is that speed. I'll take the chance on Tyson's hamstrings over the speed factor of Concepcion with his bad hands.
Yeah, totally.
I do like the idea of going, another tackle, 2 tackles, and then spending the next couple of picks going wide receiver.
I really liked, that's what I'm saying. I really like Caden Proctor for you guys.
Proctor wouldn't be bad. Fano, if he drops that far, that would be nice. I think we're at that point now, into the 20s in the draft, where a lot of things can happen, and how it shakes out to who's on that board can really vary, and I think any team picking later in the draft, you're basically just hoping that this list of 3 to 4 guys that you have is available. And we've already seen that go on now with Chris and what he was saying, and with what you were saying, where you're picking at the top, with Rob or myself at 6 or 10, you have a better idea of who is going to be there and who's not going to be there.
Yeah, this is why it's always tricky. It's always such a tricky bit. All right, so let's make some moves and let's move on to the second and third round. Okay. All right, so let's go rapid fire. So make this thing. So I'm here. I'll start off. I'll just name what picks I think we're gonna take at round 2, pick 45. I'm taking Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vandy. It might be a reach, but like he's just an insane hybrid weapon. That I think that Minter could really, really use, especially with the loss of Likely.
Okay. I'm going to say we're looking at edge. If we go tackle, then wide receiver, I can see edge. Um, Although you could make a play if Denzel Boston, I'm looking at a draft right now and they have Denzel Boston going at 35 to Tennessee. If he's there, why not go lineman and then wide receiver, wide receiver?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
You know?
I'd love to see the Browns have a good offense one day, or just
Hang in
adequate,
there.
right?
Hang in there.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Just believe in
Not
yourself,
that
buddy. It can happen.
we're not that, you know what? We're not that far off. I really, we've got the tight end, we've got the running back, we've put together what looks like it could be a decent, an average NFL offensive line. We're really just looking at that quarterback position. Does Shador pan out or are we waiting until next year? If he doesn't pan out, you still want to have all the pieces in place for the guy who comes in.
Yeah.
Jan, I have an idea.
Yeah.
I think to make things fair,
Mm.
the AFC North should be Steelers, Ravens, and then Ohio. I think we should be able to put the Browns offense, excuse me, the Bengals offense
Wait.
and the Browns defense out there
I'm
with maybe
I'm gonna
a couple Ohio State Buckeyes mixed in.
hey
Yeah, no,
Chris,
totally. If you had the
take a
Ravens,
moment. I want to remind Chris that in recent history, the Browns have gone deeper into the playoffs than his team has.
Oh,
He's
this is
got me.
true.
He's got me.
This
So
is
have the
true.
He's got
Bengals.
me.
Actually,
So
the Bengals have gone deeper than
Yeah.
the Ravens or the Steelers in recent history.
you're
You
not
guys,
wrong.
you guys,
You're
I'm
not
almost in
wrong.
the
It's
promised
much to
land
my
there.
chagrin. So okay, so at 39, DGBG, you're taking
I'm going to take either a wide receiver or an edge there.
any names?
If I'm going to name a guy, shit. Why not? Mason Thomas. Why
Okay.
not TJ Parker?
Okay. Those are interesting. Okay. Let's move on to Bengals at number 41.
So if we got Bain amazingly at 10, it would be great if we could get Keontae Scott at number 41, just because then we'd have both the pass rush and the nickel defense. If we can't get Bain, then Jacob Rodriguez, right, who's like the kind of linebacker we want, which is this kind of off-ball linebacker, I think, who is very versatile, who fits Golden's scheme. Um, but if we don't get Bain, and I don't think we will, but if we get Downs, then we have our guy for the nickel, and then we'd want a pass rusher. And then the pass rusher, according to my notes, the kind of people who would be there would be either TJ Parker or Cassius Howell or Derek Moore. Maybe a small chance of Peter Woods or Caleb Banks. And by the way, the guy you were talking about, I think, was what, Caden McDonald? I forgot. Yeah, that guy would also, I mean, he's going to be long gone by then. But yeah, that guy was also pretty good in the first round as well. But yeah, basically those two, since I think those two are our two biggest needs, and since there's a lot of people who can, I think the best pass rushers are going to be in the first round, then if we can get the nickel in the second, that'd be great. But once we got those two things covered, then we can start getting to our other needs, which would be like edge depth or finally getting linebacker in round 3.
Interesting.
Right.
So you're thinking that like if you don't get Baines, it's like Parker or Woods is basically who you would start out
I
with.
mean, I don't know that we're going to be able to get. Oh, sorry, yeah, TJ Parker, yeah, not Peter Woods. I don't know that he's going to fall all the way to 41. Um, if he did, that I think we should get him. Although if he falls that far, that does raise questions as to why. But yeah, just basically somebody who can. Hold on a second. Yeah, somebody who can pass rush.
Yeah.
Sorry, if we have Bane, we don't need anybody who can pass rush.
I
Somebody who
think
can do
I
the nickel.
yeah, I think Parker works. I mean, it's like
If we had
if
Downs, that would take Parker.
if Peter Woods is definitely like the cleaner of that guy should not still be there at that time, right? Like he's
Right.
totally get the, I think that NFL had him going in at 33rd.
I
Uh
mean, he was, he, you know,
and he's
these,
listed as like the number one defensive tackle.
yeah, I mean, I don't know that he's considered that anymore because he's like seems to have regressed since his 2024 season.
Hmm.
But like, I have heard that Clemson doesn't do a great job of developing players, and so,
Well,
but,
if you get like Woods, I mean that's disgusting value. That's you just got a
oh
round
yeah,
one caliber interior disruptor in round two.
yeah,
And if you go with like TJ Parker, then you basically get like to me it's a very Bengals pick. It's very
yeah.
projective edge, strong value there. Like kind of annoying because it makes so much sense.
Well, yeah, he's starter quality, and plus, we have some edges, but we still don't know what to make of Shamar Stewart. And
Yeah.
Miles Murphy was really good in the second half of the season. Is that going to stay the case? And then we got Boyamafe, who I'm very confident about. So, like, we have some edge depth, but you can never have too much, especially if you can kick guys to the interior too.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. It makes sense. And if Ruben, so that's who you take if Ruben Baines is already there or is
Well,
gone.
yeah, if we got Ruben Baines, then I would take Keontae Scott if he's available, or Jacob Rodriguez, right? Somebody to do the nickel because now we have our pass rusher. But if we took Caleb Downs at 10, which I think is a lot likelier, now we've got our nickel person, and then we basically would not want a pass rusher, and then we get TJ Parker.
Got
So,
it.
I mean, if he's available, right?
Right. Yeah, I get that. Okay. Okay. All right. Chris, anything to add to that?
No, I, I I think that's spot on. I mean, new, they're the one team who kept their coach this year from the offseason. So I'm being mindful of the consistency of the program that they're going to have. Not a lot of uh, seismic changes there. I am curious, how that hole that's left by Hendrickson is going to be filled. I haven't confidently seen how the Bengals are going to address that on a defense that already, needed a little bit of help. So I kind of see the first two, maybe three picks potentially going to that defensive side of the ball to help shore things up.
Yeah, I think so. Unless Jeremiah Love is there at like 10. And then I
Oh,
could see us taking
oh.
Love just because we'd be like impossible to scheme against, like, because we could do anything at that point. But I, as for what were you saying? You're saying a point about consistency, about getting defensive players.
Same
Um,
same coaching staff, so consistent
oh yeah,
approach.
uh, Trey Hendrickson. I mean, we kind of had a defense without Trey Hendrickson last year
Hmm.
anyway. Like he was there for the first 7 games, missed the last 10, but he wasn't really himself for some of those 7 games. So like, it's not like people keep on saying their defense was bad and now they're taking away their best player. Well, our defense was bad without our best player. Like we kind of didn't have him last year. So I'd be really surprised, and I'd cue Jan's laughter, but I'd be really surprised if our defense gets worse. Like I really do think it'll get better from how it was. Defense is a pretty variable, volatile position, or not position, but side of the ball. And so, you often have people fall from like the bottom 12 to the top 12, like from year to year. Yeah, what is it, Jan?
Do you have the same defensive coordinator as you have last year?
Yes, but
Do you have the
last
same
year,
coach?
yes,
Okay.
but, uh, so a few things. We had Louis Anarumo before we had Al Golden, and Louis Anarumo, he had a complex scheme, and he did not like having rookies in there to the point where he just never put rookies in there, and so our rookies didn't develop. Um, last year they kind of all were developing at the same time. It was pretty bad, but Golden himself was developing as well. And I wish I could mute this text, but it's not. I don't know if you can hear the text coming in. Okay, good. But anyway, yeah, Golden, he's going to get better, I'd like to think, as a defensive coordinator because things got so much better in the second half of the season. And so, yes, we have the same coach, but Dak doesn't do the defense, right? And I think, we'll see if Al gets it together. I do think if we have another failure to make the playoffs, we might not see the same coach or defensive coordinator next year. And I'd be hopefully the job would be an attractive position and we'd be able to get the best guy in the markets, especially because Baltimore, which is a more attractive position, has already got their new coach. And Buffalo, I don't think Buffalo is more attractive, but some people might. But they got their new coach. And I don't know, what jobs would be better than the Bengals? They're not firing Andy Reid. So if they fire Zach Taylor, what? Philadelphia? Yeah, that's not a bad answer. I mean, though Jalen's a complicating situation, right? But yeah, they could fire their coach, couldn't they? What's his name? That crazy guy, who's not necessarily a very good coach.
Oh God.
Yeah, well, it
I
doesn't
had
matter.
it there, now I don't have it.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot too. It's all these texts are swarming me. They're hurting my brain. I'm gonna mute.
No worries. All right, so let us move on to let's see. Pick 45. That's me. So I already I think I prefaced this a little bit, but for me, I'm taking Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vanderbilt. To me, it's just a hybrid weapon that I think will be really, really well used. Declan Doyle is going to have an interesting time, kind of I think that he'll want to shape a tight end. He'll have that veteran presence in Mark Andrews with Isaiah Likely gone, bringing in a new tight end as a weapon because we know that Lamar Jackson loves his tight ends and loves throwing to tight ends. And I feel that Eli can block and he can catch. So to me, that's, where I stand on that. My biggest concern there would be that, it might look like it's a luxury pick, but I think that it's not whenever you think about the scheme that uh, Lamar Jackson seems to find himself throwing to his tight ends mainly.
What did you go in the first round? Corner?
Yeah, I went Jermad McCoy.
You wouldn't want to stay on the defense, maybe go edge?
No, I looked at it and sure, if there's a couple of people that were available that would be interesting, again, if you, I'm also a fan of oh man, I just lost his name. You just said his name. Parker, TJ Parker. I think that TJ Parker is also an interesting choice at that if he's available. But for me, I think that there's something in Eli Stowers that makes it worth that reach at the second round.
What? Run down the list of who your wide receivers are.
Right now,
Yeah.
so we still have Zay Flowers. I think that DeAndre Hopkins is not returning. Bateman we still have. I think that we're working through his extension. We lost Patrick Card as a fullback. Patrick Card is gone. Isaiah Likely is gone. Still have Mark Andrews. And we also, no, Tylan Wallace also, I think, left to go somewhere else. So you make a good point.
The
Wide
real
receivers,
murderer's row.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Wide receiver is a place that we could draft in the second round, and there are some good wide receivers in this draft.
Yeah, it's
I
a great
think
need for wide receiver.
I think, with what you have there, I don't know if tight end is an actual good use of that pick. I would see wide receiver right there in the second round.
No, I can feel that. I think that it's I feel like there's some real we from the combine we saw some really interesting wide receiver performances, and so I think that
Yeah.
that's something that we could probably pick up more in the third and fourth rounds and find good value there. But as tight ends, it's a little bit of a leaner class of tight ends, and so for me, I think that that's where my instinct lies that they would pick from.
Do you think that the learning curve for a tight end going from college to the NFL is harder than a wide receiver going from college to the NFL?
Depends on if that's a blocking tight end and a catching tight end, if they have both skill sets. I think that if it's a blocking tight end, not so much, but if it's a tight end that can catch, then yeah, because then they also have to learn like their routes and stuff like that. Like and it's also a brand new system.
The routes plus blocking scheme too, because
Yeah.
the tight end's going to be expected to block.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of like, why not wide receiver? You're not going to get an immediate kickback from the tight end at that point.
It depends on the tight end. That's the reason why I like Stowers for that.
I always think about this in terms of money. Like wide receivers get paid more than tight ends do. So if you're drafting, you can get basically a free wide receiver or a free tight end. Like then think of the savings and what you could use to buy other players at other positions and stuff. But especially because tight ends, you can get good ones for cheap on the free agency market. But
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. For me, there was just something special about that. Like I said, it was a real hard choice on second round for me because I really was trying to figure out like where we would go on defense, and it would be like a Parker or whatever have you. But no, I really, the more I saw Eli perform through his tape and things like that, I just felt like it's a good value for like to me it just struck as like one of the best players available if he's available at that part.
yeah, I mean, there is, of course, even if there's a savings, if there's a player who's going to give you more wins, take that, even if you can get, him for, even if you're not saving as much. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I take Caleb Downs at
For
10.
sure. All right, so that leads us to pick number 53, Chris. Who do you got, my man?
So I'm going to start this off with what I think in sports or in what we do here, kind of a dirty word, election. I'm going to liken this draft to an election. And the one and only advantage you have drafting in that later half or top third is you get to see what direction the league's going in before you draft. You get to see where positions are running from year to year. So this year, one of two things I think is going to happen. And with the Steelers drafting at 21, they're going to sit back and watch how quickly offensive linemen and defensive backs are coming off of the board. Now, I think that'll kind of help us prioritize what we're going to do first, second, and third. There's a guy out there out of Toledo, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. He's a 6'4" safety out of Toledo. The Steelers have done extremely well picking guys out of especially small schools in Ohio. I'm looking at my guy Roethlisberger that we got out of Miami of Ohio. I mean, he's an Ike Taylor-esque safety that I think would fit really, really well into that defense right now. I think you put him out there with Jalen Ramsey and some of the other young guys, and I think he's going to be an immediate great fit on that defense if we can get McNeil-Warren in there as a Steeler. Now, the reason I was mentioning the whole election bit is because he's actually a little bit more highly regarded than some of the guards, tackles I was talking about in the first round. So if the Steelers get a little antsy and think that the safeties are going to start to come off the boards, if we see Downs, go off immediately, I think the Steelers could potentially pivot and take McNeil-Warren in the first round. If not, and if he's still out there, when we pick in the second round, it's a no-brainer. He's wearing black and gold.
Yeah, I mean, his name alone is Steelers worthy. Like that last name is like somebody that you're like McNeil-Warren. It's a Steeler, isn't he? It sounds like it's totally like a Steelers name.
Steelers
All right,
name, Steelers build. Go ahead.
Hoping you get him at 55.
This guy right here. What's that?
I was saying,
and that's what I'm saying.
You
That's
get
what
him
I'm
at
saying,
55. 55 seemed highly unlikely for him still to be there.
So that's what I'm saying. I could see us taking him first round, at 21 and then looping back and getting a tackle guard second round,
Yeah.
just depending on how everyone starts to pick. I mean, if those guards especially start to come off the board early, like we said, there's only a couple guys out there that I think are first round pick worthy. If that's the case, I think we go guard. If Downs comes off of there, maybe top three, top five, and that safety defensive back position starts to get a little hot, then I can see us taking McNeil Warren potentially in the first round with that 21 pick.
That guy, he was a third team AP All-American, first team All-MAC. He led the team with 3 forced fumbles. He played in all 13 games, 12 of them starts, 77 tackles, 5.5 tackles for a loss, half a sack, 2 picks, and 5 pass breakups. That's not a bad guy. If you bag him in the second round, that's a heck of a pick.
Right.
And I can
And to
see
Rob's
based on
point, I mean,
those stats right there, why can't he go in the first round at the back end?
so I remember drafting TJ Watt at the end of the first round a few years back and just thinking like, holy shit, how is he still available to us at this pick? That would be the type of day where we would get McNeil Warren in the second round. Again, I think his value puts him in a position to where we would consider, if not almost definitely take him in the first round based on that skill set, that fit, that size speed combination. He's not going to get cold hands playing out there in Pittsburgh. I think he's that kind of guy. And again, I go back to Ike Taylor, who for the longest time, although wasn't my favorite Steeler, really locked down one half of the field for us in that defense.
Yeah. I honestly I was thinking about this pick for you, and I had down Zachy Wheatley, the safety out of like Penn State.
Okay.
Because I mean, I was thinking about it. Like, if you want to leave the line and go full Steeler defense mode, then like Wheatley is a good day two pivot. He's like, I think that he's a really kind of Steelers-esque draft piece, specifically because he's such a strong fit and he's versatile and his ball skills. Like, he's a little scary, but that to me is like the person that I was like, okay, if I had to make a choice and thinking about who would be left, that's kind of where I went. What about you
And,
guys?
and interestingly, I mean, for the first time, I haven't considered a skill position player in the first two, maybe even three rounds. I think that if we were to, I think our first three picks could end up being guard, safety, tackle, or that same combination in the opposite tackle, safety, guard.
Yeah, I
But
had
I don't see us taking a skill player in a
I
couple of
actually like my alternate with this was interior offensive line with Chase Basantis,
Yeah.
right? I thought Texas A&M, like if he somehow winds up slipping, like this is to me one of the best value versions of interior lines you could, like players that you could get. I think Athlon ranks him at number 3. Um, and I think I think that would be a monster for you to have on your interior offensive line.
and we can use it. We can certainly use it. I mean, I think the only position safe on that entire offense is tight end right
Mm.
now. Tight end, I think, is the only place where we have 1 and 2 locked in.
All right. Rob?
For round 3, or what I was gonna say is, the real draft is gonna be so much more disappointing than this. Like, things are gonna go so bad, and people are not gonna be there, and they're gonna draft people who are gonna be like, who and why? But this is why the mock dream is the optimism factory. The mock
Yeah.
draft, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a mock dream, really. It's a mocking dream.
Yeah. All right. So, let's get into the third round. We'll try and make this as quick as possible because I know that we all got like lives to get to. Let's go into the third round. So the AFC North picks are in this order. We got the Browns at number 70, then the Bengals at 72, the Steelers at 76, which is from Dallas, I believe. Ravens are at 80, then the Steelers come at 85, and then the Steelers come back with 99. Is that right?
I believe so.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, sounds right.
Yeah. So the Steelers wind up with three picks in the third round, Ravens with one, and Browns and Bengals with one as well. So we'll kick it off to number 70, the Browns, DGBG. Who do you got taken?
All right, I got four picks, four options here. Newsmeyer, I'd say Connor Liu. I'm going to say Carson Beck or Elijah Surratt.
Hmm. Yeah, I like Lou too.
The two quarterbacks give us the backup that we're going to need, as a third stringer guy. Both, I think, can play maybe part-time at this level. I think Lou helps out at that center position if we went that route. And then Elijah Surratt, well, we need wide receivers. So, and he's tough.
Yeah,
That's my thoughts
agree.
on it.
Yeah, I personally really like Lou. I'm pretty high on him myself.
The only thing that's scary about Lou is the injury.
Yeah.
The ACL, I believe.
Yeah, but I also it is, and I don't know. It's weird. Like if you had talked to me at the beginning of the before we got into free agency, I'd have been like, "What? Knees heal so quickly." But now, like that we've seen everything happen with Max Crosby, it's much more like I should shut up about knees.
Yeah.
I should just be
Yeah.
quiet about anybody's knee ever again. Um, so. Okay, so next up is Bengals at 72.
So here I think I'd finally get us a linebacker, Jake Golday or Kyle Lewis. But if not them, then maybe Landon Robinson. I only picked him. He's interior D line. He's from Navy, just because that scout I mentioned earlier seems to be super high on him, and he said he's very reminds him a lot of Dylan Fairchild in that he's this kind of like hidden gem who can get Dylan Fairchild. In case you don't know, was like I think the best pass protecting guard of the 2025 class, and
Yes.
so we got him in the third round, and that's just not Bengals Cope talking. I think the guy's name is Brandon Thurston. He does that trench
I
warfare
think
thing. Yeah.
Mm,
Has Jan frozen? No.
I don't
you
know.
froze for a second.
Oh, I froze. Oh, all right. Well, I feel fine now.
Yeah, your audio is catching back up again.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, anyway, yeah. So I said Jake Golday or Kyle Lewis for linebacker or Landon Robinson for D line, and we might get a swing tackle too because we might need some finally get some tackle depth too. But I think we'll probably address swing tackle in the first four rounds. But I don't know who we'll get though at that
Yeah,
point.
I had you guys with Landon Robinson. Like if he
Oh, you
felt,
did.
yeah, if he
Okay.
felt, I mean, it's a very Bengals day two pick to me.
Uh-huh.
It's not glamorous, but it's very adult.
Uh-huh.
And it's also
Totally.
deeply annoying if he turns into one of those like rotational monsters who just like kind of is a drive wrecker.
It would be nice to finally have one of those on defense. Yeah,
I'm sure it would. It's probably been a while.
it has been a while. Does Jesse Bates count as that? And he's a really good
Uh,
safety.
yeah,
But
he's good, but
Yeah, wrecker.
no, no.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, Chris, you're on the clock.
So I've already kind of committed to that interior line. Um, and it does start to get slippery there in the third round, just based on kind of what happens before. I do think that we're probably going to go guard first round, safety second round, or vice versa, safety then guard. And I think we're going to round out the top three. Although we do have three picks in the third round, I think we're going to focus on offensive tackle. I think by that time you're looking at a Drew Shelton out of Penn State, I believe. Austin Barber is someone else I kind of like. I mean, I for some reason I really like bigger players. Barber at 6'8" at offensive tackle. I mean that's a hell of a mountain to get past. So long as his feet are quick enough to defend the guys who are going to be coming at him in the AFC North, I think we're going to spend those three third round picks just really rounding out those offensive uh, lags that we have.
You just want to draft everybody from Penn State. You just want to,
Nah,
It's all Penn State, you know. I'll say this, like, you know, Austin Barber to me is the more interesting choice there. Like he's one of the top 5 tackles. And you know, Drew Shelton, like he's like just slightly worse than Barber. It's like I think Austin Barber is like 11th, and that Shelton is like 14th among like offensive tackles. So to me, they're generally in the day two conversation there. But I think if I had to choose between those two, it'd probably be Barber. I think I'd lean
Yeah,
towards
I
Barber.
mean, on paper, I certainly do like Barber a little bit more. Again, if his feet are fast enough to defend those guys, then he would certainly be the one I would pick. Size wise, I mean, just durability wise, I like what I've seen from him thus far.
Yeah, I think Shelton's just more of a developmental project. Also, Austin Barber sounds like a Steelers name.
It does. It definitely sounds like a
Yeah,
Austin
that's
Barr.
yeah.
Steeler. Jersey already being printed.
Yeah. Yeah. Drew Shelton sounds like something that goes to North Carolina.
What sounds like a Ravens name?
Kyle Hamilton.
Okay.
Ray Lewis.
Uh-huh.
You know, those vibes.
Oh, so
Apparently,
nothing very fancy. No compound names. No Powers Johnson.
no, I don't. I mean, we had OBJ for a season, but
Yeah, but then you just shorten him to OBJ.
yeah, no, exactly. Just it's zoop.
Too many names for you guys.
Yeah, no, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So 76 pick.
I like the
Steelers take
premise.
like say Austin Barber, tackle, Florida.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it just screams like one of those picks is it's just, you know, it makes total sense. It sounds like something that everybody in the room would be like, "Oh, of course, yeah, the Steelers take that." Okay.
And I
Awesome.
mean, and I'll say this as well. There's all the talk about the SEC year over year kind of being, what it is. And there are certain positions that I do want to come from that pedigree of a school. And for me, offensive lineman is one of those things. I mean, I think that receivers and certain skill players are guys you can reach out a little bit and go to a smaller school and find some real treasure out there. Uh, Antonio Brown was from a smaller school, if I remember. I mean, there's some real talent at the smaller schools at that wide receiver, tight end, cornerback position, sometimes running back. But for me, an SEC lineman is pretty glamorous, I think.
Yeah.
Those Georgia guys, those Florida guys, those Alabama guys, that seems like a real luxury to me on the line.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so Ravens at number 80. You know, we went with you know, a safety at the top, and then we went to a tight end, and so I felt like it would be a good time to kind of like look at the board, see what was there, or see what could still be there. And I know that DGBG had mentioned this player before, but if he's still available and they don't wind up taking him up, for me, number one is Connor Lew. I think that, you know, out of Auburn, it's just to me a great Ravens pick. Currently, the 3 round mock at NFL.com has Baltimore taking Connor Lew, which I like found out like 20 minutes before I started doing this thing, and I've been thinking about him all week. You know, so I think he's just one of the top centers, and I think that like it's a good fit to help us replace Linderbaum and you know just be very very versatile. If he's not available though, then for me it's the edge Trey Moore out of Texas. If he's there, this is a more aggressive swing for us. But, you know, I think that he's one of the top edge guys entering the cycle. And if he slid to 80, that would feel like a gorgeous value play. He's got, you know, pass rush depth, rotational edge that can, and
Oh
just
well.
to me, much more juice, you know, than interior offensive line. But yeah, so for me, it would be either Connor Lew if he's available or Trey Moore if he's available.
All right. I'm gonna go back to what you picked in the second round. You came tight end.
Yep.
Sat here and talked about wide receiver instead of the tight end.
Yep. Because I still think
I
we can
have
get
a
him in the third and
receiver
fourth
here.
round.
Dude, you've got Deion Burke sitting right there. Why not? You
Yeah,
can
I
you
think
can go
that the
wide
bigger
receiver in the second round and come back and take the Ohio State tight
yeah,
end
because
over here
that's
in the
not
third.
really the way that like if you look at the way that the Ravens typically draft wide receivers, we usually like to bring in more veteran guys and like draft some folks in the fourth and fifth round, especially in the fifth round is where we find like a lot of our receivers. You know, like the exception to the rule has been Zay Flowers, who we drafted in the first. So that he's actually the exception to the rule. So there are wide receivers that will be there available in the second and third, but we would really want to focus on the edge and also, more importantly, on the offensive line and addressing the losses that we felt there. Because wide receiver, that we're just there's lots of wide receivers out there.
There are, but there is a drop off at a certain point,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, but we also, I think that like having that offensive line touched up is more important than having a third round wide receiver that we can't throw to because we have nobody to block uh, any of you guys.
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
have
you guys
one.
need wide receivers quite as much as we do because of Lamar, but yeah, I mean, it's still nice to have.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, the only other I was looking at Pons, the cornerback out of Indiana as well. Like he was an interesting choice in the third, but I really think that it's either Connor Lew, Trey Moore. Those were the two guys that like I was really high on for the third round.
Isn't Pons like 4'11"?
Yeah, he's not super tall. I mean, but I will say that his attitude is
Oh
He
yeah,
plays big.
he's a
he
killer.
plays
He plays
huge.
I believe he's
I
actually
mean,
five
he's
foot
got.
eight.
I don't know if you guys know this. I'm wearing 89, but it's not Mark Andrews. It's Steve Smith Sr.
Now, why would I know that?
Well, you wouldn't, but
Oh,
it is
I know that.
Steve Smith Sr. on the background of
oh, I
that.
see. All right.
And so I love little dudes with attitudes, right? It's just fun to watch them play, especially on defense. I'm a big fan of Mighty Mouths, so I'm all for it. All right, so now we are back into Steelers picks. We've got two left.
At this point, I mean, once we get those three heavy needs, one guard, one tackle, uh, and a safety. I heard his name earlier. I still like this kid. I think that if he's available third round, that Carson Beck is a Steeler. I think he gives us quarterback depth. I think there's something to be said about him being either in or just outside the championship game as many times as he was, albeit in losses. But I think his history in the NCAA is night and day different if a couple games go a different
Yeah.
direction. I mean,
Mm.
we're
I
talking about
agree.
him in a completely different light. And I think that if he gets on the right NFL team, he can really shine, really shine.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like that's really interesting because like that's not like a desperate top off the board quarterback reach. This it'd be pretty clever. Pittsburgh waits, stays patient, takes a swing on this quarterback with like a real pedigree and physical tools. You know,
I
he's
think he
he's
fits a Mike McCarthy type of quarterback.
he does. He's got enough volatility to make the room argue for 6 months. But
Well,
Right?
and also he did well in his championship games and his playoff
He
performance.
did. He
Yeah.
did.
yeah,
I mean,
So
when he
even
was
if
with
he didn't
Georgia,
win, he shows he's got poise.
did well with Georgia, did well with Miami. I also think there's something to be said for two things. One, coming in and replacing someone that was drafted number one overall and coming into that quarterback position. Also, something to be said for someone who can go to multiple programs and be successful. I mean, that tells me a lot about his football IQ and
Yep.
what his ability to transfer into the NFL will be. Big
Mm.
Carson Beck fan.
Interesting. No, totally. I think that is a really interesting choice. It's not what I was thinking, but yeah, that'd be a, that would be a steal, no pun intended.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. So who do you have at 99?
Now we're getting deep. Uh, At 99, I think we may circle back and either shore up the running back position and or the wide receiver position. Um, I, I think with the way the league is drafting right now, wide receivers obviously have a higher value than they ever have. We're getting pretty thin out there, at that third round as far as the guys that we're all going to know and recognize. It's hard to even throw a name out there. I mean, Malik Benson out of Oregon, I tend to like, their speedy receivers, the way those guys play. Um, I'd be happy with Malik Benson out of Oregon.
Mm, that's interesting. What do you guys think?
I agree with him. I agree with him on the fact that the wide receiver group, it's super thin as the later you go into the third round. And I actually think that Benson coming from Oregon, I think Oregon's a great program. They're a high flying program. I think any guy who can play wide receiver right there, why not? We're
Yeah.
throwing darts at the wall here in the third round, so why not?
No, I think
And
that like
to get an Oregon guy on the field with DK, put him in the slot, maybe opposite Metcalf, and start to stretch out the field a little bit, I think is where we can be.
Yep.
yeah, I think that like if you're betting on traits and upside, like Pittsburgh with that pick would find like one more good wide receiver project that they can just sharpen, right? And so I'm with you, DGBJ. I agree. Like I think that would be that's a good fit, especially if you wind up getting your QB at 85, and now you can just like sweeten the deal and develop them together.
They
If
already got
Carson
their
Beck,
quarterback. Regardless of whether it's 1 year or 2 years, it's Will Howard. I don't understand why they keep wanting to throw in retreaded quarterback after retreaded quarterback. Like,
I've
just
told you
take
guys
the
this
guy, let the
before.
guy play.
Their Super Bowl is getting to the
1%.
playoffs. It's not winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm
They want to
actually
get
kind
to
of
the playoffs.
I will
Rob, it's
say
a
that
standard.
It's the
yeah,
standard, right? I mean,
the standard,
they're farther
it's the
than any of
bar.
our teams from getting a Super Bowl win, to be honest. Like because they keep
Yep.
on treading water and they just never put themselves in a position to get a really top quarterback as a pick. You guys need some kind of miraculous injury luck where, your quarterback's legs explode and you have to run some person I've never heard of onto the field, and then you end up losing, 14 games.
When
Uh,
I think
you know,
about the generational talents we've had over the past few years, it's all been through trades. I mean, I think Rogers fits in that conversation. I think DK Metcalf also fits in there. And those are guys we just haven't been able to draft over the past few seasons for some reason. I I, I definitely think that to everyone's point, I think it's very well documented and talked about is by never having that top 10 draft pick. I mean, we just kind of are where we are. I mean, we're just middle of the pack, treading
yeah.
water to your point.
Yep.
No, I
And
mean that's totally within the comp pick zone. I mean, you're no longer drafting for safety, you're drafting for upside, right?
yeah. Well, also they
Totally
haven't drafted that well in the first round, other than like TJ Watt in 2017.
no,
true.
no, Watt was like the last real stud, like nailed first round pick, in my opinion. Totally different conversation. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole right now, but it does beg the point. I kind of like the NBA style lottery draft for this exact reason. I mean, when teams are talking about who sucked the most so that we can have the highest pick, that's, I think, when you have to have a think of, are we doing this the right way?
Mm.
We do
Yeah,
not
but
want to
see,
resemble the NBA.
NBA is trying to change that though. Like you can't have, I think the rule that they're trying to implement is no more than 2 years in a row where you can be in the lottery. I thought that that's what I understood because you have teams that consistently and constantly take.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, looking at your draft, you spent the whole draft building structure, and then you went really weird with this last pick. So I respect it. Um, All right, guys. So there it is. Those are the first 3 rounds of our draft, of draft day. Um, I imagine we're going to
That's
put up.
wild. Hold on, I had to go back. I had to look at the Steelers' last 10 years worth of first round picks. And I'm going to go from 24 backwards. Fautanu, offensive tackle. Broderick Jones, an offensive tackle. Kenny Pickett, Najee
Uh,
Harris. In
okay.
2020, they didn't have a pick. They traded it for Minka.
That was
19 was
awesome.
Devin Bush. Then you had Terrell Edmonds. Then you had Watt. And the 2 years before it was Artie Burns and then Bud Dupree.
We took Edmonds in the first round?
Edmonds, yeah,
Shit.
2018.
Yeah, but that Minka trade was A plus.
A plus.
Yeah.
A plus.
Yeah.
I remember getting Artie Burns in the first round way back when at corner. He was a speed demon out of Miami, I think. And I was pretty excited about him until he got him on the field and just didn't work out. So, yeah, I mean, Watt is the only first round pick that's really panned out for us in like a decade.
Yeah. I mean, what
Devin
year
Bush
was
worked
wait,
out well for us last year.
Well, not Najee's okay, but
Yeah, Najee, I liked. I
he's
would
not a
like to have
bust.
kept him for another couple seasons. No, definitely not a bust. Definitely not
yeah.
a bust.
No, I mean, wait, what year was Watt drafted? I forgot.
2017.
Watt,
17.
2017.
yeah.
Got you. Got you. I still have like nightmares from the 2013 draft when we took Matt Elam at number 1 and at 32nd, and he played like 3 games and then got arrested and then got traded and then went somewhere else and then got arrested again, and now I think he's playing college. No, like I'm not. It really broke my heart. I had hopes for that guy coming out of. I think he came out of Florida State. I think he was a Gator. But yeah, no, it's always interesting to kind of go back and look and see where you've done well in your choices as for your first draft. So okay, so there it is. All of the picks for the first, second, and third round of the AFC North. We're gonna list those out. I'm just real quick for you guys. I think I'm gonna like wind up putting up a graphic.
Oh,
There'll be a graphic that lists out all of our choices. If you guys want to send them to me to make it easier for me to like put that up, that'd be great. So just like if you can send them to the AFC Northern at Gmail. But anyway, let me get back into this real quick so we can wrap this bad boy up. All right, guys. So that was all of the track picks that we have for the first, second, and third round. Super excited to see how the draft breaks down. If we are able to get together again, maybe we'll break down the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh round. If you guys would like that, feel free to drop us a line into the comment section. Let us know what you think about our choices and what you think about our draft. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check us out on Patreon. We have lots of cool stuff on there. And we are going to sign off as we always do with Fuck the
fuck the
Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah,
Patriots.
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Later.